Located in the southern region of the Erie Cemetery in Erie, Pennsylvania, is an ominous-looking mausoleum nestled into a ridge that is known locally as the Vampire Crypt. Founded in 1851, the Erie Cemetery is the final resting place to many of the area's prominent industrialists, and among the beauty and grandeur of the Erie Cemetery, the Sloane Mausoleum stands. The crypt isn't adorned with any elaborate symbols or carvings. There are no names or dates anywhere on the crypt. The only mark the crypt bears is this symbol, said to be a lily, a flower commonly associated with death, but local legend claims that the mark is that of a letter V, the mark of a vampire. Records say that the mausoleum was owned by Gertrude Brown, but what's odd is there's no one by that name that lies within the walls of the crypt. The first body interned within was G.W. Goodrich, who died in 1884, and several others would join him, all from the Goodrich family. 3 of the bodies were exhumed from a nearby non-denominational cemetery and moved into the crypt. The cemetery records show that there have been 7 individuals in total interned within the walls of the crypt, 2 of which are named, and some records show names of dates of passing, but other records, family records, are incomplete and list no dates of death for one of the members of the Goodrich family. Many believe that this is one of the things that was done by the vampire to hide his true identity. The legend also states that one of the unnamed occupants traveled to Romania and died from consumption shortly after returning home, and it is said that shortly after his death, strange and unexplained occurrences began. One of the incidents involves a group of teenagers who, after hearing of the story of the vampire, decided to go see if the legend was indeed true. One of the teenage boys climbed the back of the mausoleum to the top of the crypt, and in a blatant act he mocked and taunted the vampire's existence. Soon after, the boy screamed as he fell to the ground as though he was pushed by some unseen hand, and members of the group said they couldn't see him or anyone else around him, but as he fell they heard him yell as he plummeted to the ground. The boy was knocked unconscious and was admitted to a local hospital, and when he awoke he began screaming frantically. Nearby nurses rushed to the boy's room, and as they entered they noticed that the boy had climbed out onto the window ledge, and before he could be reached, he leapt to his death. The mystery still remains as to who or what the boy was trying to escape from. Another incident occurred where a local widow was visiting her late husband's grave, which is located near the Vampire Crypt. After she placed flowers on the grave, she was approached by a pack of large black dogs, and as she began to run for her life, the dogs gave chase, and as the woman looked back, she noticed that the dogs seemed to have vanished into thin air. Several others have reported seeing spectral black dogs that appear and disappear in and around the vicinity of the Vampire Crypt. In the 1930s, a young man was determined to see if in fact an undead creature resided within the vault, and one night the young man used a chisel and crowbar to gain entrance, and just before dawn he was successful at opening the tomb. What he found inside was a tomb filled with a putrid smell of a decayed coffin that held a decomposing corpse. To prove that he was successful in entering the tomb, the young man removed a ring which was on the hand of the corpse, and as the sun began to rise, the young man ran to a friend's house to show off his latest acquisition. The boy swore his friend to secrecy and proceeded to head home, happy with his prize. That afternoon, the boy's friends had gathered at his house to see the ring after his friend failed to keep his secret. The boy's mother said he was upstairs resting, and she would go and get him. And as the boy's mother had entered his room, she noticed that her son lay dead, his mouth frozen open as though silently screaming, with the ring finger ripped from his hand. Strange occurrences continued in and around the surrounding areas, where bodies were said to have been found drained of blood with bite marks on the flesh. One of the groundskeepers took it upon himself to rid the crypt of its undead host, and was said to have burned the crypt. This is also believed to be the reason why the marble has a scorched appearance. The crypt was sealed and chained shut and remains that way to this day. And no one has entered the crypt in decades, and many are said to be too afraid to enter. Is there a vampire residing in the crypt? The legends say so. These legends are so strong that the mausoleum has earned the name Vampire Crypt, a name that even the cemetery officials themselves refer to it by. So if you're ever in Erie and you happen to be walking past the cemetery at night and you hear a strange sound from inside the gates, it might be best if you walk with a brisk pace, say a prayer, and keep a crucifix close at hand. So, my friends, until next time, stay spooky and remember to let them know why they fear the dark.